All right. So if you are bloated, constipated, have irritable bowel syndrome, or one of the array of digestive issues out there in our culture running rampant right now, if you have irregular periods, really bad cramps, or hormone dysfunction in general, again, on the rise and rampant, this episode is for you. This is the if they knew that I want to make sure I do my due diligence to make sure you know. Hormone issue, digestive issues are on the rise, and not just in adults. This is affecting our teenagers, our kids, and our babies. And it's something I want to do everything I can to talk about because I know you're out there looking for solutions. And it's not Band-Aid, quick fix, take a pill for the ill, but then it just comes right back. We want to break the cycles. We want liberation. We don't just want to not be sick. We want to be well. We're designed to be resilient, adaptable, vibrant human beings. And if you're not that and you're seeking that, this episode is for you. Today, I get to interview Marisol, the Queen of Thrones. And I remember hearing about castor oil packs years before I actually tried it. It seemed too complex. I remember a do-it-yourself website that was shared with me, and I was like, I do not have time. This sounds like too much or too good to be true, and I'm just not interested. And then someone told me about Queen of Thrones, that they make these pretty packs that simplify everything with really clear instructions. And the results that I received blew my mind. And anytime it works in me, anytime it works in my home, I take it to my practice. I share it with everyone I know. And when I got to meet Marisol, when I got to know her, when I got to hear her story and her passion for castor oil and the difference that packs make and that you could use them with kids, I hadn't even thought about that. But getting to share her packs with my children, guys, I'm excited for this episode because this woman has that thing. When a person is vibrating at a certain frequency, when they are healthy, I mean really healthy, when they're thriving and growing, you see a sparkle in their eyes. You can feel a fire through the screen if you're watching them on social media. You can't fake it. It's there. When I met her, I was like, ooh, she's got this thing. And in today's episode, she's going to share it with us. So here we go. Hey guys, Dr. Devin back here, and today is one of those like fangirl moments. All morning long I've been kind of counting the seconds because I knew this woman from a distance, and if you don't know who Queen of Thrones is, make sure that you pause this video and go follow her on the social media channels because there's this fire that comes from the screen. And when anybody can do that, I want to sit closer to that fire. I want to understand if you're that healthy, if you're that high vibe, you know something I want to know too. And as fate would have it, ended up in a circle with this woman, a mastermind with this woman. And today I get to interview her. So please welcome Miss Marisol, the Queen of Thrones.
What an introduction. Thank you, Devin. Oh, my heart just expands with that introduction. And it's so interesting because I'm a firm believer of like attracts like in homeopathy, one of my wonderful tools that I've used in clinical practice for so long. And truth is, like be told, when I first saw you, attracted me enormously. Your hat, your style, your way of being, the aura that you were like was just emanating off of your pores was so attractive to me. So I'm so stoked that we become friends, and now we're able to share with the world our magic together.
The layers, guys, that we're going to unpack today. We're going to, of course, talk castor oil packs and Queen of Thrones things, but when we get to unpack layers like this, we're going to talk about how do you step into that type of authenticity, because she and I, while I do think you are magical, and I like to think I have a little magic in me too, so does everybody out there. So whoever you are listening and watching today, I know there's a yearning inside of you that is hidden behind a little bit of fear or a little bit of self-doubt. And so I want you to stay with us all the way throughout, because we're going to talk tactical, practical health tools, but we're going to wrap up today with that fire of how do you find that thing? How do you give yourself permission to be that special something? And so we're going to kick off the way that we always do. And I'm going to ask this woman, what's the big idea? What's the one thing? Because I know she has, all this clinical experience, life experience, business experience there's one thing that I know she wishes people knew, that if they knew it, they would be healthier and happier. So, Marisol, what's that one thing?
Oh, it's going to come out and everyone's going to be like, I knew it. Of course, castor oil and castor oil packs, but it's really more than just like the castor oil pack. It's castor oil's use in general. Like I look at castor oil and it's been with us humanity since the beginning of time, the Egyptians, the Greek, the Romans, since the beginning of Catholicism during the Crusades. I mean, castor oil has saved the lives of so many people in so many different ways over the eons. And it has historical recollection from fascism in Italy to the Caribbean islands. I mean, it is everywhere. And this golden oil with the name, the Palm of Christ oil, I feel so in tune with it. And I remember the first day that I saw the oil at the bottom of a health food store shelf when I first landed in the natural health and wellness industry. And there was something magical attracting me, like your hat in our mastermind group. It was a ring around this beautiful oil. And I just saw it, and I saw it for a moment and I said, what is that oil? And from that moment on, I think my life completely changed. And when I started adopting castor oil into my life, I think it changed me internally. And I think the way that I've changed is what I would love for the world to change into too, because I become more authentic. I become honest. I become truthful. I've created past barriers that I had actually created for myself because of my thinking what the world wanted for me. So very interesting. I just think castor oil belongs in everyone's pharmacy cabinet and beauty cabinet for sure.
And we're going to go there, guys. Like huge believer. I mean, I was recommending these to patients, to friends, well before, we had a meet. And I love the simplicity and the guidance that you give with your products too, because everybody's looking for like, where do I start? Great. But like, is this another thing that I'm going to buy that I'm overwhelmed with? But you simplify the whole process, and you got a little feature back behind you.
Yeah, I got my little model here. He's wearing the castor oil pack. Yeah. See, the thing is that necessity is the mother of all invention. And for me, my journey took me from working in the natural health industry. I had always been that borderline case of sick and healthy all my youth. And my mother was always trying to it was either pneumonia or tonsillitis or IBS or period problems or not getting my period. It was always something. And so my mother, being South American, was always looking for natural cures and ways to calm me down. But the truth be told was that I had a lot of cofactors. We were living in a moldy house. We were living on the edge of an electrical farm. So you can imagine the amount of electricity, and all of these things cause stress in the system. And myself, I'm a hyper feeler. So I was someone who was very prone to, being irritated by all these simple environmental situations. So I landed in natural healing as part of my evolution in my career in business, because I was truly I wanted to become an ambassador or work for an international company, because I spoke many languages. And I ended up with this company called Heal, awesome name, HEEL. And their products were natural anti-inflammatories, one known as a Traumeel, very well known in the chiropractic profession. And I was going from store to store to store and learning about products and teaching people about their products. And this castor oil shone at me, and it was so amazing. I remember asking the store clerk and being like, I was in my 20s. I'm like, what are these castor oil packs good for? And they go, oh, IBS and PCOS. And I was like, check mark. I'm like, I got it. I'm like, that's so cool. How do I do it? And then at the how do I do it, I was like, oh, I'm not doing that. Because it was so many different steps to do these wonderful castor oil packs. And even though they were good for my hormones, they would help my constipation. They would alleviate my diarrhea, my alternating back and forth. They would help my lymphatic bloat that I was constantly dealing with. The amount of steps I had to do for it completely turned me off in my early 20s. And actually for about a decade, it turned me off. And what also turned me off is that I thought it sounded woo-woo. How could putting oil on a piece of cloth and me putting it on my body do anything greater than a pill could do for me? I would rather take the supplement, right? Pill for an ill. That's how I thought.
Mm-hmm. And I remember when my midwife, postpartum, and she was making different recommendations, and she sent me this website with unpacking steps for castor oil. I was like, I mean, like even
No.
to learn, I mean, and so then when a friend of mine had been like, "Hey, have you heard of Queens of Thrones?" I looked it up. I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you, whoever you are, for packaging this." And you've already kind of hit on it. And so if I say, "Who is this for?" You're gonna say everyone. I already
Yeah.
know, right?
Yeah.
But you feature kids. You have cosmetic like products and things as well. So tell us like some of those niche like places that your company is most passionate about serving.
Awesome. Yeah. So the only person who can't use castor oil packs is during pregnancy. I mean, that being said, it's also if it's prescribed by a midwife or a doula or your naturopathic physician or chiropractic physician at a certain time in the pregnancy, maybe if you're late or you haven't delivered yet, then it's appropriate. But that is something that is prescribed by practitioners. So I just want to be really clear on that one. But other than that, kids, babies, elderly, if you're on medications, if you're on hormone replacement therapy, if you're taking chemotherapeutic agents, some timing is needed there, and again, follow with your doctor. But it's really a tool that goes beyond any other tool that I've ever seen in clinical practice. And for me, what got me so entwined with the castor oil pack was that in naturopathic college, in my last year, I got dreadfully sick. And when I got dreadfully sick, I was kind of a little bit devastated and disappointed because here I was studying to be a naturopathic doctor, and here I am doing all my things. I'm eating right, I'm drinking right, I'm exercising, I'm taking all supplements, I'm doing everything, counseling, all of it. But yet I'm still sick, and I got scared, and I was losing faith in my own medicine, and that was a scary place to be when I was about to graduate. And then click in my mind 10 years of people telling me to do castor oil packs over my career in natural healing. And here I am, well, nothing to lose. I was convalescent. I couldn't get out of bed. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to try it. So then I sewed up my very first castor oil pack with like a little trade show organic castor bag. I put on straps, and I remember putting it on my body. And Devin, it was like this. It was like, la, 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 la. The sky opened up and the angels began to sing. And not to make fun of this reference, but it felt so calm, so good, so serene, so embraced. I felt embraced by the divine when I put the castor oil pack for the first time. That was the feeling that I felt. And it was a feeling that I know I was blocking my entire life because I didn't trust in the divine. I didn't trust in my divine. I trusted only what they said to me. And that was the missing link in my healing. And it was that started to bring me calm and peace. And that first month, I remember wearing the castor oil pack every hour. And then I'd take an hour off. Wear it for an hour and I'd take an hour off. Because here I was, my body was completely ravaged by stress. And the not being able to trust in my own guidance and my own self and in the divine. And this castor oil pack revived me. And it was within those first 3 months, I was told I would get better in 6-9 months, maybe a year if I would be lucky, because by that point I had mold, Epstein-Barr virus, mono, EMF sensitivity. I was co-infected with all kinds of things. I was, the classic case of, we don't know what to do with you. Maybe we'll just keep on shooting the kitchen sink at you and maybe you'll get better, but I wasn't. And so this castor oil pack shifted me. It was a game changer. And it was within those 3 months that I explored castor oil in so many different ways. I almost wanted to bathe in it. I was using it cosmetically. I was putting it on my eyes to sleep and putting an eye mask on. I was wearing the castor oil pack. I started doing wet dry brushing, which is where you apply castor oil on your limbs before you dry brush. So that way it helps with like the smooth muscle movement of the circulatory system and the lymphatic system. So I just explored castor oil in its entirety those 3 months. I feel it's like it became my boyfriend or husband or my lover because it was like everywhere.
And it kind of is. I mean, chiropractic, I always say that I started chiropractic school without being adjusted. Like it calls like that thing that, your medicine, your magic I do believe if your intuition is leading you, like it'll take you there. And I love that. I feel like I've gotten to fall in love with chiropractic over and over again because I keep letting it teach me more, right? I never feel like I've arrived. It's like, well, what else is there? What else is there? So I love this because I totally get it.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Limit it, right? If you start to see the miracles happen, then it's, well, what else can you do? And so we get practical here. And someone listening going, okay, I've heard of these things, or now I'm hearing about it and I want to try. Where do you start? Well, how do you?
I think the liver pack is the number one pack because it's the easiest to start, and it's for the adults. And then there we have the kids pack, which is for the liver as well too. And the reason why it's the place to start is because everything begins within the liver. I mean, the liver gets congested. The liver is very energetic. The liver is actually where it houses our soul. If you go back into Christian and scripture, if you look at Jesus when he's being crucified, the Romans at the end of it, they spear his right side. That's the liver. They're spearing his liver because they wanted to make sure that his soul was gone. So our soul is housed within our liver, and the liver is a really interesting place because it doesn't belong to any specific chakra or energy center, but the liver is in between of our lower energy centers and our upper energy centers, and it connects us to our heart. Because what the pack does more than anything is, yes, it's liver detoxifies. It helps you absorb your food and nutrients better. You eliminate a lot better. You'll go to the bathroom if you're not regular. You'll sleep better, poop better, feel better overall. But where the magic is, and many people don't know about the castor oil pack, is that it's actually liver energy medicine too. Because so many of us, and I think you hit it right on the button when you said I was leading by my intuition, but which is good, thank God, because before that, mainly I was led by my instinct, which is my lower energy centers, and it's fear-based. Right. And when I started using the castor oil pack, there I moved into my intuition, and I started being driven by my divine rather than my instinct, which was all fear-based. And now my life, I live it. And the reason why I'm on fire and I feel so good and love what I'm doing is that I'm leading by love. I'm leading by my intuition rather than my instinct. And castor oil packs, these are the bridge that can move you from your lower energy centers, the materialistic, the keeping up to the Joneses, all that jazz, moving into a place of heart, love, true medicine, right? True medicine at the end of the day.
Traditional Chinese medicine, the energy, the emotions, the memories that stay trapped in the liver, right? Ooh. And
control, right? Control, anger.
And nervous system based, where like a part of what I hear as you're saying that is like we get in that fight or flight. And if you look at the state of the world right now, right, in 3 years of this pressure cooker that we've been living in, nothing about what we're living in still today is normal. Nothing. And so everyone is living in some form of fight or flight. If you're on social media, if you tune into any kind of news, radio, if you're alive with a pulse and live out in the world, there's still stressors that are like weighing on you and so all of us are a little bit in that fight or flight. Freeing that up puts us at a state of ease. Your bowels aren't going to work for you if you're constantly in fight or flight, like what in that reactionary state. So I love this, even just the simple act of loving on your body temple. How often do we take, like when I put mine on, I literally take a moment to say a prayer of just thank my body. And then putting that on and saying, please help me get rid of anything I may not even realize I'm hanging on to.
That's right. Yeah, it is the castor oil pack, if we were to sum it up in a nutshell, easy peasy, rest, digest, and detox, and self-love. Because you're right, it's like this golden oil is meant to embrace us. And the castor oil pack, I mean, someone might be thinking, well, why can't I just, bathe myself or rub the oil all over my body? The pack is very purposeful. The oil has, 5 benefits: natural anti-inflammatory, rich in antioxidants. It balances microbiome. It's the master carrier oil. And it also helps with smooth muscle movement, right? In our intestine, our uterus, our lymphatics, and our circulatory system. But the pack hugs our bodies. The pack physically works as a lymphatic pump, because when you inhale and you're lying down, you expand your lungs, and when you exhale, you decrease their size, and so you're literally pumping your lymphatic system in the area which has and contains most of your lymph. And then on top of that, physiologically, and you're going to appreciate this as a chiropractor, you're stimulating all of your receptors in your skin, all your Merkel receptors, your Ruffini endings, hot, cold, soft touch, C-tactile nerve endings, that all feed back into your central nervous system and turn on that beautiful ventral vagus nerve that we are so wanting in this day and age. And you're so on it, Devin, about the fact that we are living in these little stress we're in a stress sphere in a way on planet Earth. And it may be things oftentimes like for me, which I had no comprehension of until I delved into the natural world, which was how mold was affecting me and how magnetic frequencies were affecting me because I am such an energetically in tune being. So energetic.
And I know someone out there is going, this is me. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this is me.
Yeah.
Then I want to shift to kids, right? Because half of my practice is babies and kids. And they call me the poop doctor because chiropractic is amazing for helping babies go. And yet I'm watching, more and more babies, kids, teens, this cycle of constipation. Because if we're stressed, imagine what they're going through. Imagine living your life on a screen. Most schools are so screen based and like they're not moving as much. So I mean, like just the energy, the physical. So I have, we played with some videos. You graciously sent us some kids packs. So guys, I'm going to share some videos on my social too of how the kids use it. And they were so excited. And my kids loved it. Like I love their curiosity. And I love getting to do it in the here and now with them. But what I love more is like, if I go tomorrow, they're learning tools of how to trust within, that their health is inside. And that if they just support it and nurture it, it works and it thrives. And so I love that you've added the kids in there because when's the best time to heal? When you're
early. It's teaching them as early as possible. Like, we have different kids in different stages of life. Like yours are in the younger stage and mine are now in the older, moving out and doing their own thing. And, I started with the kids packs with them as early as I got them. When I got my kids, I got bonus babies at 10 and 12 and they were young. They were perfect. But had I had them even earlier, if I had had a babe, I would have started doing castor oil belly rubs in that first year for sure, because the gut is all developed. And if you're doing castor oil already, you're able to develop a really beautiful microbiome and prevent things like allergies and sensitivities. I have so many babies in my clinical practice who are just allergy sensitivity free. They eat everything. It's just beautiful. But they started as the mom, the minute the baby came out, she was doing a postpartum pack on the lower part of her belly, using our pelvic pack. And then the babies, they'd be doing baby belly rubs on the baby. And children are eager. And the thing with children is they heal so rapidly because they're so in their energy and so in their divine, especially before the ages of 8. They haven't yet been so corrupted by the outside world and all that, bad talk. And you should do things like this. You shoulds. And so from that time, they're so impregnatable, I think would be the word, because we can impregnate within them all these wonderful ideas of natural healing. And if you start them early, my daughter, when she went off to college 3 years ago, I remember, or 4 years, she called one of her first nights when she moved out, about an hour away, and she'd gone out, had a little bit of a party, as they all do when they run off to college. And, first thing she does, she calls me, she's like, Mom, I forgot my castor oil pack. First thing. And that was probably one of the most joyous days of my life, because I knew that she, unlike her friends who ran for aspirins and Tylenols, or maybe go eat a fatty meal to feel better and soak up, the drinking they had done the night before, her first gut instinct was, I need my castor oil pack to help me heal. So she was being driven by better, divine, healing, natural, nature's way of being better, right? So I was super thrilled with that.
Oh, I love it. And I think, everyone's looking for the quick fix, right? But it's sum total of the choices that you make over time. And so I love these one thing, big idea conversations, because it's like, if you start it's going to help you in the here and now, slow and steady, or maybe fast and steady. And then over time though, and it's generational change when we bring it into our kids. I do want to open up a question or ask you to share a message to practitioners. So for someone like me, because more and more people are kind of turning from, going to one doctor, like their general practice, it's not the old days where we had these medicine women and men that like you went to, now it's specialists, and they're losing faith in traditional medicine by the droves, right? More and more people are like, okay, I don't want big pharma. I don't want pills. I actually want my body to heal. We live in a toxic world. So as practitioners, now I've got people coming going, you're my primary. And then I need that. There comes a weight with that as a practitioner, because then you're tempted to become all the things. And then you lose your one thing, because if I'm all the things, I can't be the best chiropractor.
Right.
So comes collaboration and utilizing things like this in practice. If you're sending out a message to practitioners and chiropractors, what would you say to them about, collaborating with your company?
I love this. To me, and see, I actually wanted to become a chiropractor rather than a naturopath. But the reason I went for naturopath, because I truly enjoy the nervous system. It's my jam. I love it. And I love adjusting and everything. Mind you, we learn how to do chiropractic adjustments, but I don't do them in clinical practice because I'm not the specialist. It's just what you're saying, right? Like I send them to my proper friend chiropractor, who's my chiropractor. And because I know I want to have that expert level of chiropractic treatment. But what I would say is that patients are coming to chiropractors expecting more. They're expecting treatment in between of visits, even if you're seeing them 3 days a week, they're expecting something to do at home. And I truly believe, getting into supplements is great if you're able to have the extra training and knowledge on that. But the easiest ways with castor oil packs, because a liver pack in all of your patients will benefit them, because if they are seeing someone else or they are taking supplements or they are trying to eat a healthy diet or exercise or do better health practices, the castor oil pack is just that foundation tool, like breathing exercises, like, moving your back, exercising well. It's so foundational, and it'll cover the most important problems, which is sleeping better, which, everyone walks in with problems sleeping, whether they can't fall asleep or they wake up in the middle of the night, and then pooping better and hormonally regulating their moods. So those are the 3 big ones that all us doctors see no matter what. And the kids have the same problems too, because the kids can't sleep, can't poop, and they're anxious. So, you cover it all with the castor oil packs. And then there's one clinical pearl, Devin, which I'll share because this affects all listeners, not only the doctors. But castor oil packs, as you said, they work fast, and they do work fast for most people. But there is this one subset that castor oil packs don't work for, and this is why I want to highlight it because it's a really good clinical pearl. Because if you prescribed a patient a castor oil pack, and they take it and they do it, and they are like, it didn't do anything for me. I didn't sleep better. I didn't poop better, nothing. You then know, and how I would confirm in clinical practice is I would do a urinary analysis dipstick, and 100% of the time, the patient would be dehydrated. So because castor oil packs, they help calm the body, get the body prepared for the body to do the job of packaging and recycling and getting ready to move everything out of the system. But our bodies require water to move and flush everything out. And so the only time that castor oil packs don't benefit is when people are dehydrated. And so it's a great clinical tool also, because for chiropractic, of course, we also want hydration, because that affects everything from discs, spinal discs, everything along the healing spectrum.
Yeah, we are water, right? What percentage of the population? Because I hear difference. What do you think is dehydrated today?
I'm going to say about 75%. Okay. In my clinical practice, not so much, because obviously, I have patients who come already really focusing on their health and trying to drink water. Many are drinking water, but it's just not absorbing because of their levels of stress, and they actually cut out salt because they think it's a healthy thing to do. But I think in the general population out there, I'm gonna venture on around a 75%. We drink too much coffee, too much pop, too many things that are artificial, and we are taking advice of things like stop eating salt, when good quality salt is good for you. You need a little bit of salt. It's a part of the neurotransmitters, what makes our nerves sing and dance, right? We need a little bit of salt. But so yeah, I would venture on saying 75% in our practices where people are more aware. I'm going to say maybe it's about a 20 to a 25%.
Yeah. And people don't think about, well, doc, I drink water. It's like, well, what type of water and what dehydration and stress, hydration is not about water. I think that's, we could probably unpack that one in another 30 minutes. I love, just the way that your company supports, making it easy for the practitioner, because business is hard, right? Most of us in clinical practice, we don't go to business school in chiropractic. It doesn't come with that, right? And so a lot of people struggle of like, oh, I don't want to do retail, but you have, options for, making it really, really easy for people so that they're not trying to get outside their lane. They're most effective if they stay in their lane.
That's right. And I lived it as a practitioner, so I'm one of the best persons to help people with this because I knew what it was like to be in a clinical practice. It looks like you're doing great, but you're not doing well financially, and the only thing that you can do is start increasing your prices for patients, which is hard. That kind of pulls at your heartstrings. There has to be other ways for us to do good and benefit as well too, so that we can have the lives, the work-life balance that we want and we deserve, because being a healer can be very draining. That's one thing. And I guess if I would end, I would say, healer, heal yourself, because I know classically in my practice, I was given and giving and given and given and given, and I burnt out a few times. Like, it wasn't just once, it was a few times. And each time I did, I would go try to learn how to do it online because I'm like, I can't keep doing this. I got to go learn how to do things online. But the reality was I just needed to make proper shifts. And then I did those shifts. And when I did those shifts, then I saw a whole new world open up in front of me. And I decided, it was a choice I made, that I was going to close my clinic and I was going to move full force into this, because I realized that I not only was out here to help the people, but also the practitioner, because I'd seen it from all angles, and I could see clearly the areas where they could be doing so much greater than for themselves. And then when the healer is healed, healed people can heal, sick people only hurt. So if the healer can heal themselves, then they can only heal more and more and more and benefit the world more and more. And I truly believe that it's our holistic practices that are the change in the world that the world needs. We are the change.
That's it. And it's, it takes me to studying in China, Master Wan, this great Qi master that we studied with. And he said, why is it that you see these, practitioners burn out in their 30s and 40s, and they're giving everything away, and you can't give what you don't have. And as my mom passed early in her 50s. I know you and I share kindred stories in things like that. My husband's dad passed away. You're seeing death, disease, sickness in young people so much earlier.
Yeah.
But we really can't serve if we're not living in our truth. And again, that's why I love surrounding myself with people like you. And that prayer of, when I started doing these, I had a moment where I was dealing with some like kidney stones, and I had a cyst on my ovary, and and then I have multiple friends with cancer. And I had that moment of, where you're headed, sis? If you don't start, like, the body is talking to you, and it might be quiet at first, then it gets a little louder, and then it's a cyst, and then it's a stone, but you know where that heads if you don't tend to your own garden first. And so I love that, because it's such it's just so congruent with the truth that we share. Now I want to circle back where we started beginning. And
let's do it.
I would say the heartbeat of our team's mission this year is, you heal the mother, you heal the home, you heal the world, right? Like, it's that simple, and it's that hard sometimes. So just pegging off of that, moms do the same thing we're talking about as practitioners here.
Totally.
Everybody else first. I cried with and held, I don't even know how many moms yesterday who are drowning with newborns, with too many kids, to run in too many different directions, all the, stress, and they don't have anything left to give. And, I want a message of hope, inspiration to women, and also like this radiant energy that you have. It wasn't, it's not by accident, it's intentional. So take us into, how you nurture yourself, but also how you set your soul on a blazing fire.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I think the most important thing is, for all those moms out there, it's time for your quantum shift. It truly is. And by quantum shift, I mean, it's time to move out of those low level fear-based energy centers within our gut. Like, just look at all your problems: bloating, constipation, irritability, mood, cysts, all these things. And it's very easy. And I'm going to be very gentle with you too. It's not your fault, because it's very easy to stay stuck there, right? Because it's the easy way to go about it. Cravings, all of these signs, addiction, these are all signs, maybe your glass of wine at night, whatever they may be. These are all the signs of low, being held down and weighed down, more excess weight that you don't need to be carrying. All that is weighing you down in the lower energy centers, and you're going based on instinct. When Dr. Wayne Dyer says it so well, he goes, when women have a quantum shift, when they have a quantum shift, and castor oil packs can help people have a quantum shift because it's liver energy cleansing, right? When you have a quantum shift, you before the quantum shift, women are all giving, sacrificing, they're martyrs, they do nothing for themselves, they're only worried about everybody else. But the moment that they start to shift from the instinct and the lower centers to the intuition in their higher heart-based center, which is where we want to be raising our babies anyways, right? It truly is. And you can do it. Everyone can do this. But having that shift, and it's just practicing moving yourself up into an elevated, higher level. When you move from there, then it's all about you healing the world. And it's exactly your mission in clinical practice. So start doing castor oil packs, because these castor oil packs, yes, you're going to poop better. You're going to sleep better. All those lower energy center problems, they lift, as does excess weight. It's amazing, uncanny how this is, right? When we start moving and shifting our energy, and then we move up into that upper intuitive zone, this is where the women are going to own the world, because there's that Beyonce song, "Women Own the World," you know, and that we run the world. We run the world. We do. We're powerful. We were witches in the past, right? It was just people couldn't hold down our energy, because our energy is meant to vibrate like fire and be caught by the wind and grow and nurture this world in the way that we want it to grow. And we can do it together.
We know things, right? If I've interviewed, I don't know how many people at this point, but I would say over half at some point when I ask them that question, they say, trust your intuition, like a lot of my male guests are like, moms, moms are running this. Like there's, there is the systematic destruction or, calculated movement to disconnect us from that place.
Yeah.
And it's coming back. You can feel it. And even as I was telling those women yesterday in their tears, I was like, you're crying because something else is there. So let it break, because that's where you're going to build back up from. There's another option. It's not hopeless. And you can see that light. I mean, we grow humans. What women, the cycles and just the magic of women has always taken me.
We are the infinite. In traditional Chinese medicine, the 7-year cycle is for the man, and it is the 8-year cycle for the woman. And the 8-year cycle, infinity sign. And if you look at how our bodies are made, it's in the shape of an infinity symbol. When God made man, looked back and then realized he said, this is not good. He said, he pulled the rib out and he made woman. And then he was happy because he had the balance, right? God established the balance with woman, and the woman was his final, like a more complete creation in his eyes. She could procreate, she could make, right? Even God himself. And this is what I'm saying, women, if God can go back and look at himself and be real with himself and tell himself, okay, I can do better. And he goes back and he does even greater still. Well, then, we can do that same thing too. So I think, in Catholicism, there's the examine. It's a practice that's done where every night you go back and you just examine how you're doing and how you're being. And, come from that place of self-care, because when we self-care, when we self-soothe, when we know what we need for ourselves, then we can do that so much greater still for our kids and for the world, the greater world, right? Which is, I think, and as you can see, even chiropractic doctors, naturopathic doctors, there's more females now going than ever before.
Yeah. There is, I think it has tipped over the 50% mark, but also the trend that rises with that is more women come out of practice after 3 or 5 years, in part because we're burning ourselves out. So yes. I love this episode. I hope it pours into everyone who's listening in some way. And I'll make sure we got links and all the show notes. Where can they find you?
Well, if they want to have a nice personal relationship with me on Instagram, I have my own account. It's at Be Well Queen, because I believe every woman is to be well. And then, of course, our company Instagram account at Queen of the Thrones. And you can find us on our website as well, too. So I'm in one of those places at all times.
Queen of Thrones. Where are you going this year, Marisol?
I'm traveling all over all over the world. I'm, one of the things was I wanted to do everything from love this year. So this year we keep on growing, we keep on innovating. My big final, I mean, not final, but the dream of Queen of the Thrones is to really create all the tools that the practitioners require to do all the real medicine. So I'm exploring the world and finding the different medicine from different places and then bringing it to all the doctors. So then that way we have, because our world is a global world, and I know from being raised in a Latin American and Spanish family that there's so many wonderful tools that have yet to be explored in natural medicine. So I'm on the mission, and also to give back to the land. So we're looking at now purchasing land to grow castor oil, which happens to be the plant is very, very eco-sustainable, which is just makes my heart sing even more. And so we're looking at that and not for profit. So that's where we're moving into, and run by women. Not for profits in Latin America, run by women.
Love that.
Yeah.
So let's all stay tuned and send her all the good vibes. And fingers crossed, we're in like figuring things out. I think you might be here in Wichita with us for.
I do believe I am going to be in Wichita. I told my husband this morning, I'm going somewhere. It's in the Midwest somewhere. I'm not sure.
Travel to all these luxurious places, and we are going to bring her here to the heartland. And at the big idea, I mean, literally, it's so simple that I hope that day we get to like everyone puts one on. And
oh yeah, we will do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because once you realize how simple this is, yet how profound the results can be, you'll be a believer for life. So
and the biggest testimony is it's a game changer. How's that for words?
It's true. I mean, if you're not pooping right, like if your hormones are funky, like everything's wrong, right? So I love this. I love how simple you've made it. And I'm so grateful for your time. I can't wait to see you and play with you more this year. Guys, go check out all the things, follow along, and order yourself. You take away one action step today. Go get that liver pack. Start there. Get a bottle. You'll have that oil. You can do the rub with your kids. Get it moving in your life. Feel the difference. Then come back here and play with us in the comments and tell us about the miracles that you're experiencing. So thank you, love.
Thank you, darling. Love and blessings to all.
Man, we unpacked a lot. We took that conversation in all different directions. And I'm always blown away because I think going in that I know about the topics. I know why I invited her. I know about castor oil, but I didn't know or hadn't heard it put the way that she put it. I didn't know that it was called the Palm of Christ oil. I didn't know some of its ancient roots. I didn't think that it could be as simple as using it as a massage for babies in the way that she talked about it. And then when she shared about how easy we can move this into practice for practitioners that are looking for solutions for our people, but don't have enough time in the day to be all the things to all the people. And then when she talked to women, a quantum shift. Ladies, it is time for a quantum shift. So wherever you are, because you're right where you're supposed to be. But what if you made a shift up? What if you stepped in? What if you eliminated some of the things that are dragging you down? What if it really is as simple as putting on a castor pack, as getting adjusted? What if these little things, these little light bulbs make all the difference in the world? When you heal the mother, you heal the home, you heal the world. And I won't stop till we get there. So I hope this message hit you the same way it hit me. I love you. We are here for you. Make sure you have your save the date for the big idea in Wichita, Kansas, July 29th, with a special private workshop for chiropractors on the 28th. So many things, guys. It is so cliche. I can remember my mom loving the tagline, "The best is yet to be." And I remember rolling my eyes going, yeah, Mom. But when you rise each day and you hear the birds chirp it and you look at the sunrise, or you catch that sunset at the end of the day, or you dip your toes in a creek or the ocean, you get into the quiet of nature, or you're in the arms of your loved one, or you're on fire like Marisol is with a mission to serve other people. The best really is yet to be. And I'm betting on us. I'm betting on you. And I'm going to do all I can to support you along the way. So ... We'll see you soon.